Hi, I'm a hand, and here's an honest, thorough, and important review of some Christmas cracker jokes. So, this is one of the many crackers I cracked earlier. I'm not going to reprise a cracker this time, wait for next Christmas. Here are 5 jokes. So, one joke says, "What kind of cough medicine does Dracula take?" Coffin medicine. That's alright. I mean, you can see the pun. It's also quite informative. If it ever comes up in future, you know what kind of cough medicine Dracula takes. That's a reasonable joke. A bit of a weakness is that it has the phrase cough medicine in the question and arguably in the punchline. A better constructed joke would use a different reference for the question, like, what kind of syrup treatment does Dracula take when his throat is bad? There you go. Although you could say that's overruled by, like, the structure of the pun, coffin medicine, just the plainness of it, how direct it is, could justify that. That's a reasonable joke. Here's one. Why did the mechanic sleep under the car? He wanted to get up early in the morning. So, the basis of that joke is that oily sounds like the word early, which you'll notice when you listen to the words being said. That's particularly true in some accents, and you could even say, like, why did the mechanic from New Jersey sleep under the car, if you'd like, but arguably that limits the audience of the joke, and it's all there, it's quite accessible. If you slept under a car, you may well get oily in the morning. Of course, that would be a car that hadn't had sufficient mechanic work done to it, but that would be why the mechanic was there in the first place. That makes it important that the person involved is a mechanic, because if not for that element, it could just be anyone sleeping under a car and getting oily in the morning. Next we have, what do you call a man with a paper bag on his head? Now, don't try and figure out what his name would be just based on that. It's actually a format of pun joke where the resulting name is relevant to the person's situation. The answer is Russell, which sounds like the word rustle, which is what paper bags do on heads. He may struggle to breathe, although perhaps the paper bag is set upright atop his head, so do consider that. That's alright, isn't it? It's a bit of an old one. Next we have, how does Jack Frost get to work? By icicles? I interpret that the intended pun there is on the word bicycle, which sounds a bit like icicle. But this joke's structure has been ruined by the pluralization of the word icicle, thereby making the pun on bicycles, which would mean that Jack Frost, in at least the second implied definition of the answer, rides more than one bicycle in order to get to work, perhaps at the same time, perhaps in a kind of relay way, or perhaps Jack Frost is more than one entity. Presumably the use of the word bi represents the B in bicycles, or bicycle if you're sensible, and I respect its inclusion, but it does not make this a decent joke. That does not really work. Last one we've got here. What do you call a crate of ducks? A box of quackers. Now, I did do some preparation before this video and read each joke and research them a bit and try and figure out exactly what they mean. After a couple of hours of study, I've reasoned that the answer, a box of quackers, is intended as a pun on the phrase, not very well established phrase, a box of crackers. You could say that this phrase is seasonally relevant and thus more established, as the joke came from a cracker itself. There's also the other definition of crackers as the foodstuff, which can come in boxes, that can happen. Ducks are known for quacking, which does make them quackers, and if a box of crackers were a well-established phrase, I could see the validity of this joke. As it stands, though, a box of quackers is not a very elegant way to refer to a crate of ducks, especially when the phrase a crate of ducks is offered. It has fewer syllables, it's easier to say, it's less vague. My answer to what you would call a crate of ducks is a crate of ducks. But that's just what I think. If you have any other ideas, then leave me 1,000 comments. So, here's a definitive ranking of these jokes. Honestly, it's basically in the order that I put them in. I do like the mechanic one, that can go top. That's quite strong. It has a simple pun that works quite well. That's reasonable. Yeah, the Dracula one it's alright, isn't it? I mean, you can see what's going on there. The paper bag one, it's a bit hackneyed. I admit I've heard that joke before, as I'm sure many people have, especially people called Russell. Then, yeah, okay. So, this by icicles one, it's reasonable, but it's strange. It slightly outranks a box of quackers just by being a bit more alternative. You don't really expect the word icicles there, nor the pun on by icicles to bicycles, or at least the presumed pun. Then, finally, a box of quackers, because that's really bad. Okay, thanks for listening. I'll see you next Christmas. Thank you to my assistant Other Hand, and bye-bye.